In this video, I'm going to give you a walkthrough of what you can see and do in the Meetings module. To access the Meetings module, click the navigation button and choose Meetings. The Meetings module will load to display a list of the meetings that you're an attendee in. To create a new meeting, click Add New Meeting. Now think of this as the process you'd go through when you're sending out an invite to meeting participants in, say, Outlook, for example. So give the meeting an appropriate name, select the frequency, give a description. Now we add a standard meeting agenda into every meeting. This can be changed. You can delete items or add new ones. In this one I'm going to add the CX strategy update. Now for each new meeting that's created, we also create a board or link an existing board. So in this case, I'm going to create a new board. I'm not going to link an existing one. But if you already had a board set up for a project, for example, and then started a meeting for that project, you might want to link that project task board rather than just creating a new one. So everything's in a single source or a single task board. If you're going to be reviewing goals, then you'd leave this as yes. If the meeting isn't going to include a goal review, then you can just switch that to no. And I'll show you the outcome of that in a moment. So now I'm just going to add the meeting attendees. So for this, that will do. You can see I'm logged in as Pete Tong, and obviously Pete is included in the meeting because I'm setting it up. I'm just going to save that. So now I've created a meeting. So to create a meeting event and run a meeting, what you're going to do is just click this plus button. So that's now created a meeting event. So we can see it's the weekly CX team meeting. We can see the description we gave it, the frequency, and we can see the date and the fact that this is open. Now we can see the agenda that was added. We can also see the participants will be added. Now, if you need to add further attendees or remove some of the attendees that were recorded in the meeting because maybe they're not at work that day, you can simply just uncheck and maybe check another and save. So now we've recorded our attendees. So a couple of things to note. The summary here is a summary of actions within the meeting event, and it's recorded that Daniel Pierce was removed and Sander Kleinenberg was added to this meeting. So after I'd saved my attendees, you'll notice that the win input has opened. So this is guiding you now to record your attendees and now add your wins. So I'm just going to add a win. Positive. Okay, so I'm just going to record that as a win. I'm going to assign that to Damien has offered this win and save this. Now we can add further wins by just clicking the add button and following that process. If we need to make any changes, we can click on the title of the win and make those changes and save. Once we've recorded our wins, we then move on to our goal review. Now you can see again the win was recorded in the summary of actions. Now the list of goals you can see here is the list of in-progress goals that are owned by each of these attendees. So in this case we've got 5 goals have come through, but what we have done is included a hide. So if there are goals here that we feel aren't relevant to the meeting, we can just close them, we can hide them. So we can click the hide button, and these goals are are hidden, we can reintroduce them if needed, but otherwise we can complete our goal review from here. Now, clicking the chevron displays the outcomes that are related to this goal and the due date. If you need further information, you can click the goal title and it opens the goal detail page. The idea here is that the person chairing the meeting would run through each of the goals, so asking each of the attendees how they're tracking with their goal. Now, if during those discussions any roadblocks are raised, they can be recorded in the roadblocks section. So I'm just going to record a roadblock quickly just for an example. Say cause added. So we've added a title, we've added the root cause. The idea here would be to add any description of the roadblock, the root cause, and any notes or sort of from discussions that are had around this roadblock with the team. So I'm just going to save that as a roadblock. So now we've sort of moved through, we've reviewed some of the goals, a roadblock has been created. Now we've also added the meeting task board here. So as well as being able to review the goals. And by the way, when I selected show attendees goals, if I'd said no at that point, I said yes, so it showed you the goals. If I'd said no, we'd only see tasks, we wouldn't see any goals. But this is an image of the meetings task board, so the task board that we created for this particular meeting. And so to add a task, we can just click the add task button here, and we can say okay, so we've given it a title, it's in progress, we're going to give it a finish date of the 5th of August. We can see it's on the weekly CX team meeting board, and I'm going to assign the owner of this as Damien. Now, we can save this task. Now, if we needed to add a checklist, we can add a checklist. If there was any notes that need to be added, we can do that. Otherwise, we can X out. And now you can see that the task is displayed on the task board. Now, we can drag and drop to update the task status. And if there's further tasks, we can reorder by drag and drop as well. Now, just to note again, we've recorded a summary action from the meeting. Now, we can create tasks, we repeat that process. Now, we talked about this idea of roadblocks. Now, when we raise a roadblock, we then have the option or the ability to assign tasks that actually relate to the roadblock. So what I'm going to do here is just show you how we would do that. So just click the add task button in line with the roadblock, and this is going to be BA to process. That's in progress. We're going to go for Friday as the finish. We're going to give that to Alexander, and we're going to save that. I'm going to add another one that is schedule CX team, and that needs to be done by Thursday. I'm going to keep that for myself. I'm going to assign that. And so what we've done there is we've created two tasks, which we can see here, but they're related to this roadblock, and we can see that by clicking on the roadblock's title. We can see the tasks are here. Now, we can complete a task from here if that's what we need to do, but also we can resolve a roadblock. So if, for instance, a roadblock is raised but then resolved during the meeting, we can simply click this button to resolve it. Otherwise, this roadblock won't be shown as resolved until both of these tasks, or all the tasks that relate to it, have been completed. So for an uncompleted or an incomplete roadblock, this roadblock will display in subsequent meeting events until it is resolved. So this gives you a way of tracking tasks that are recorded against a roadblock, and then how long it takes to resolve that roadblock. Now again, we can see there's further actions have been added in the summary here. And the final thing here is just that during a meeting there may be discussions that that they're not a win or they're not a roadblock, and we can just record a meeting note here manually. So create So I've just made up that meeting note, and look, we can see that this is a manual meeting note, or it's not an action, it's an actual note, because the text is blue, and by clicking on that we can make any changes to that note that are needed. So once you've completed your meeting, you're just going to click the end meeting button here, and what happens there is we create a PDF of the meeting. So this functions as your meeting minutes. You can see the attendees, the agenda, the good news that was included, the goals that were reviewed during the meeting. We can see the roadblocks that were added, and then we can see a summary of actions. Now each attendee of the meeting will receive a copy of these minutes via email, and we can revisit old meetings just by clicking the open meeting. We can see that this was closed, and as at the 1st of August these were the goals that we were reviewing, and you can see there's further information. Now the only updates we can actually make here is we can resolve a roadblock. Obviously we can update tasks, but they're going to be rolling and always active until they're completed anyway. So once the meeting is closed, you can't add any agenda items, any attendees, you can't add meeting notes, wins or roadblocks.